Zero Angels is an actual play podcast using the Girl Frame system by Anxious Mimic Games. This show is intended for adult audiences and will cover subject matter that may be disturbing or triggering to some listeners. If you haven't already, consider listening back to our kink and safety conversation in episode 0 to see if our show might be something you enjoy. This episode in particular will feature the following: gun violence, gore. Timestamps for these can be found in the description. Listener discretion is advised.
We open on a scene of flat black. The camera hard cuts in to a shot of handler Colonel Mira Voss's office. All of the boxes that were there the last time have been unpacked. There are some photographs and pieces of art hanging on the walls. All of the furniture is set up. The Colonel is sitting behind her desk, and standing in front of it, standing at attention, is Eurydice. A title card appears at the bottom. January 28th, 2235. Foundation Intercept Base, NW12. Eurydice. I'd been meaning to speak to you a little bit more since I took over command, and the opportunities never really come up. How are you doing after what happened on the mission the other day?
Well, I take it that you have been briefed on what happened?
Yes, She stands up from the desk and walks up to you, and she leans over and reaches a hand out towards the mark on your eyebrow where the Major hit you a couple days ago. Yes, I understand that the Major got a little enthusiastic in her reprimand of you. You know, you can file a formal complaint with the Foundation if you want to.
Sorry, no. How?
She smiles at you and takes a step back. Oh, don't worry. I know that little joke. I might be new here, but this isn't my first command. This isn't my first assignment. I wanted to talk to you about what happened. I understand that the Major blames you for everything, but I also understand that it was her that issued the order for you to open fire, and it was our analyst that provided you with the intelligence that it was, in fact, a Gorgon.
Well, you know what put us all in this situation. You can see why I might have been a little trigger happy.
Of course, She crosses her arms and looks at you. I know it has never come up, but I knew your predecessor, Colonel Williams, not especially on a personal level, but we served together briefly on assignment in the Eurasian constituent state. She seemed to be eminently capable.
She knew what she was doing.
Right, and I'm deeply sorry for what happened to her. I know that I cannot simply come in and replace her. People can't be slotted out like changing a part on a rifle or a component of a frame.
Well, you've definitely been brought into a, let's say, broken down frame. Bit of a Ship of Theseus situation here.
She nods at you, and there's a small smile on her face. Of course. Now, the Major has recommended that you no longer be assigned as Artemis's mentor. But I know that you and it have been spending some time together, that you've been showing it around the frames and whatnot, and I'm curious, what's your read on Pilot Artemis? You've been doing this a long time. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Eurydice thinks for a moment, and also her eyes dart around the office a little bit. Sort of looking for, say, filing cabinets, whatnot.
There are definitely filing cabinets around here. There's a set of what appear to be standard filing cabinets with a lock on them behind the desk.
Eurydice files that away. Artemis is naive, overwhelmed. I don't know, I feel like I've seen a lot of people like it over the years.
Well, it's fresh out of selection and training. I certainly wouldn't expect it to just dive in head first to all of this. Unfortunately, the situation is what it is, given the events that led us here.
I don't know how much you know about where Cass is mentally.
She leans in as you're saying this and uncrosses her arms.
'Cause I'm a little unsure myself, and I worry about leaving it with the new girl.
Noted. I know that the process of healing after what Cass has been through is complicated. I wouldn't want that to interfere with our operations or the safety of our other pilots, so I will keep this in mind. As for Artemis, I see a lot of potential in it. I read the file on your previous union. It's my understanding there was a pilot in a somewhat similar situation, the pilot known as Pinup.
Eurydice winces again, thinking about how Pinup's old room is where Artemis is now staying.
In any case, I don't want you to think that I'm ignorant of these issues. I know the tendency of the unit is to circle up when this kind of thing happens, to insulate yourselves against the outsider. And I don't want you to see me as an outsider. I take this command seriously, and I understand that me and Major Attali will not always see eye to eye, but I am, at the end of the day, the commanding officer here, and I want you to know that I am here to make sure that this cadre functions properly and that you pilots are taken care of.
Can I ask you a question?
By all means.
How long have you been at this?
She crosses her arms again and quirks an eyebrow. Well, that depends on what you mean. As a Foundation handler, 2 years and some. But I've been a soldier for quite some time. I joined the UFAS right out of uni. It was 14 years ago now. So I know you've been doing this for forever, but I don't want to give the impression that I'm some brand new second lieutenant on her first command.
I get it. You don't want me to think you're incompetent or anything, but our whole deal, very different from the general army. If anything is ever a little like you don't expect it, talk to me.
She smiles at you warmly, and she reaches out and she places a hand on your shoulder. I appreciate that, pilot. I know that it takes time to build trust with the cadre, and it pleases me that there is a pilot who's so committed to building that relationship here. And as she says this, she takes her hand off your shoulder and she walks back around the desk and she sits down again and crosses her legs. Now, pilot, I'm sure that you're quite busy and I don't want to take up any more of your time, so you're dismissed. And she throws you a little sort of casual salute.
Eurydice salutes back. Same vibes. As she leaves, she is eyeing that filing cabinet.
As you close the door, we see a shot of the handler swivel in her chair, and she leans back and closes her eyes and smiles. The camera hard cuts to black, and the episode title card appears. Episode 2, Survivors.
This is the 92nd Pilot Cadre of the Foundation, stationed in the North American Constituent States Northwestern Territory. Led by their handler, Colonel Mira Voss, they are responsible for the defense of Sector 12 and the complete elimination of the Gorgon threat on Earth.
The camera fades in again, and we see ourselves inside of Cass's room. It's dark. It's not clear what time it is, maybe late at night, maybe early morning, but Cass is laying there in its bed. Cass, I'd imagine you've had trouble sleeping in general after everything, right?
Absolutely. Sleep, it's no longer restful. It's more like you just turn off and then you turn back on, like something with a rechargeable battery.
And what do you do when you're laying awake at night? Is there anything in particular that goes through your mind? Do you just try to not think about anything and hope that you'll get back to sleep?
I think at the beginning, that's what Cass would do. It would lie in bed and try to think of words or pull on the threads of thoughts. And it's just so hard for it still that on most nights, I think it just lies there after maybe 1 or 2 attempts at pulling on a thread, just trying to blank things out and try to turn back off.
Mm-hmm. I think tonight you've noticed something a little strange, something different than what you remember happening every other night, which is there's like a ventilation system that has a little intake or outlet vent by your bed. And all night you've been hearing something moving around inside of it. I think at first it sounded like it was just the noise of the air circulating or maybe a loose component somewhere in there. I think after a while you started to realize that it sounds like there's something alive in there. It's not really making any noise other than kind of scratching around, but you get the sense there's a living presence in the room with you, or in the vent in your room. There's a little thing in there. Maybe it's a mouse or a rat or something like that. You're not sure. But Cass, I'm gonna do something a little unusual for you. Normally the Mockingbird playbook, if you want to have a conversation with somebody, you have to roll bad at being a person, and you can take some pretty significant penalties to your ability to talk. I think if you were laying here in bed and you just decided to start talking to this little guy, whatever it is, I think you could probably manage to talk a lot more like you used to.
I think in this state, maybe it's because she only needs to focus on doing one thing at a time. Maybe it's because there's been so many nights like this where she's just had an empty head. So many nights where thoughts slip through her hands like sand. Maybe it's because she's not trying. Maybe it's because she's not thinking. It's like you said, she just starts talking. You know, I never liked being alone. I always felt more comfortable around people. I liked the warmth that they gave. I liked noise. I liked I liked feeling present and having purpose in a space. And now I don't remember what it's like to like things. It's like remembering a ghost. A ghost from a fairy tale. I have all these ideas of who I used to be. And every time I try to focus on a trait, remember why I used to like noise, why I liked warmth, nothing comes to mind.
As you say this last bit, you hear whatever it is in the vents scratch around a little bit, and you hear a noise that sounds like maybe something sniffing or maybe breathing. It's hard to tell. And then the noise of whatever it is receding into the distance, and a sense of being powerfully alone washes over you. It feels hard to talk again.
Cass unconsciously clings onto the sheets of her bed. It knows it doesn't like this feeling of being alone, but it doesn't know why. The words just don't show up in its mind. It is empty.
I think that's where the scene fades out. We have a shot above Cass, showing it just staring up at the ceiling, and the camera slowly fades to blackness. When the camera fades in again, we see ourselves in one of the corridors of the base. And Artemis, you've been asked to go to the handler's office. I think this is probably a scene taking place the next morning, and you've been summoned to the handler's office. Presumably you have no objections to that. You're not going to try to go do something else.
No, absolutely not.
So you're walking to the handler's office through one of the corridors of this base, and before you can get there, I think you hear somebody calling your name from behind. Artemis! Artemis! Wait up! Wait up! Wait up!
Yeah, okay.
You turn to see Rachel, the junior engineer that you met the other day in the frame bay, and she's just waving you down, and she catches up to you.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey, I'm sorry. We didn't really get a chance to talk much since you got assigned here. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, it has. Yeah, they keep me busy.
I can imagine. I mean, we're busy in the engineering department, but like, you guys are something else. I guess I just wanted to ask how you're doing now. I mean, it's exciting getting to pilot those things. I've always wondered what it feels like to get to control one.
Yeah, they've been getting me in it for a lot more action practice since the first mission. It feels, I don't know, big, like you're a part of something more than yourself, you know?
That's what they were saying about it, but like, I think it's something that's hard to, I don't know, it's one thing to read about it in a book, but to do it?
It's a lot. I don't think just anyone could do it.
I mean, no, you have to be able to sync up with it.
I mean, yeah.
She looks away quickly. And then she looks back at you, and You notice she's kind of like looking you up and down in a way that feels weirdly analytical. Also, I just wanted to say, I'm like really happy for you. About the pilot stuff, yeah, but also like about all of the, the other stuff.
I think Artemis has been walking with its hands in its jacket pockets, and I think it kind of pulls the jacket a little tighter around itself. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, I know we met, like, right before you came out and everything, and you seemed so, I don't know, you seem so much happier now,
Really?
Yeah, like, you feel like you're more yourself. And I'm just really happy for you. I'm happy you got to do that.
Artemis has a smile on its face that looks almost like it looks genuine enough, but I think that if you were to look at it long enough, you might see the disbelief underneath it. I don't know, I'm just glad to be doing something and seeing people more regularly again.
Yeah, that's important, and I know it's probably lonely being one of the pilots, but we're all here to support you. For everything. We're here to support you for everything. We're here for you. Everyone in the base.
Yeah, that means a lot. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah.
I promise we'll talk more.
Yeah.
Okay?
Of course,
But
anytime.
But in the meantime, I gotta run. The handler wants to talk to me.
Right, of course. Yeah. No.
She kind of like it looks like she's not sure what to do with her hands, and she finally settles on like a salute and then sort of scurries off around the corner.
Artemis gives a quick salute back, and then as soon as Rachel disappears around the corner, lets out a breath that it didn't realize it was holding. And then it turns to go to the handler's office.
You walk down the corridor, you go to the handler's office, you knock. Once again, you find yourself in the colonel's office. You will note that it's now been unpacked, everything is put in its place, and the colonel is sitting behind the desk. She's once again sitting there with her legs crossed. She has this black leather jacket. You've noticed that she's always kind of wearing it back on her shoulders enough to reveal this pistol that she has. Hey, Artemis, how much of I know you've got like the military jacket, but is Artemis like a military history kind of person? Like, would it know about like guns and stuff, or is that just like the jacket is an exception kind of thing?
I think that it absolutely would know about guns and stuff.
You've noticed that this pistol that the colonel wears is like, it's not a modern service pistol. It's to you a very old gun. To us in the audience, it's a gun that was made in the 1990s, but you recognize it as an old. It's got to be a reproduction of the old H&K USP service pistol. You're not sure why the handler's wearing what is at this point a 200-something-year-old version of a firearm, but there it is. And she was always very conspicuous about it. So as you walk in, the handler gestures for you to sit. Artemis, I'm glad that we could talk before I'll have to be away for a couple of days, and I wanted to get something out of the way before you're on your next mission.
Yeah, what is it, Mira?
She smiles at you. I think she very pointedly notices that you've used her first name and nods. I know that you're piloting a very particular frame. It's not just a regular line frame. It's got a legacy. It's got expectations attached to it. And I thought that maybe we should talk a little bit about what those expectations are. As I'm sure you're aware, the Foundation is as much about ensuring that the public feels protected and cared for as much as actually protecting and caring for them. If we let morale fail, then the Gorgon's job will be that much easier.
That makes sense.
So, I want you to understand that your assignments aren't simply going to be going out and killing things. It's also about presenting the face of the Foundation, being the champion's hammer. She sort of puffs out her chest in this exaggerated way when she says the name of the frame.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering when the cameras were gonna start.
Of course.
I mean, I remember Blondie.
Right. Yes, it's very unfortunate what happened to it, but this cadre is a model of what the Foundation can be. And while that has been damaged, I don't think it's irreparable. I think that this cadre still has the potential to be something that people look to for hope, for inspiration. And I hope that you can be a part of that.
I'm here to do whatever I can, so yeah, I'll be a part of it.
Amazing. So, one of the mechanics for the new girl playbook is that you gain experience as you play, right? So you've got some rules associated with it that you can like swap out as you gain experience.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you talked about taking one of the rules from the princess playbook, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's okay with you, if I could pretty please use one of my permissions to get an additional experience just this once, then I could swap out either mentor or trainee out of my current playbook for the princess rule, which deals with appearing in public.
Yeah, so there's a play in the mistress playbook, the handler playbook, that's essentially like if you give an order to one of the girls and it follows without hesitation, the handler can grant a number of different benefits. And I think I'm going to kind of slightly bend to that one to sort of do this. So I think the handler is going to kind of offer Artemis a bit of a choice here. So there's a moment where the handler looks like she's appraising you. She's looking you up and down and nodding to herself. And finally, she gets up from the desk and she comes around the desk and then sits on the edge of the desk and leans forward. Artemis, I want to make something of a request of you, which I understand as a new pilot. This may seem like a lot, but I think that this cadre in particular needs this right now. I need you to be the face of these pilots, to be the face of this unit. I need you to be out there to show people that there is still hope in this world. I know you're not the most experienced of these pilots, but I think there's something about your energy, your enthusiasm, your story is important, and I think that will inspire people. Can you do that for me?
I can do my best. I'm not used to inspiring people, but I can learn.
Of course. Then I don't want you to think you'll be on your own here. You have the support of the cadre, of your fellow pilots, of myself, and even in her own rough way, Major Attali. We're all on the same side. We all want the same thing. Thank you, Artemis. I've said this before, but I think you could be a truly great pilot, and I think part of why is your understanding of the need to present an image as much as to fight. And I think I'm willing to give you that. You can use you can use one of your permissions to gain another experience, and if you want, you can swap out a rule for the show dog rule from the princess playbook. What rule are you gonna swap out?
Yeah, I will officially swap trainee.
The handler nods at you, and she leans in and she places a hand on your shoulder. And I think the audience would notice that she lets it linger a little longer than she did with Eurydice, and she smiles at you. Thank you. I appreciate your understanding in this. I know how hard it is to be new on assignment and trying to figure everything out, and your willingness to learn, to adapt is admirable.
I showed up to serve. That's what I'm gonna do.
A feeling I understand quite keenly. And she lets go of your shoulder and she leans back on the desk. Now, like I said, I'll be away for a day or two, and Major Attali will be assuming command, but I've made her aware of everything that's happening, and I'll make sure she understands your role in the Cadre. I have a feeling that you may have an opportunity to get out there and represent the Foundation sooner than you might think.
Is there anything I should be prepared for while you're away?
Oh, nothing in particular. I just want to make sure that the public is reassured after everything that happened a couple days ago.
I think a moment of silence passes, and Artemis looks down to the ground for a minute, unsure of whether or not to say the next bit. Will you be gone long?
Not long, just a day or two at the most. I won't be far. There are several Foundation and UFAS facilities that I am responsible for, so my job does involve some amount of travel from time to time.
Right, yeah, makes sense. Okay.
She leans in again, and once again she puts her hand on your shoulder and lingers, and I think this time she moves her hand up along your shoulder a little closer to your face. Don't worry, I won't leave you in the lurch for too long. I'll stay close. And then she leans back again.
Artemis's head is still tilted down, but as the Colonel speaks, her eyes drift back up to meet the Colonel's.
I think as you do that, the Colonel holds your gaze for a second, and she smiles. And she stands up again and starts to walk back around the desk. And I think as you met her eyes, she had there was almost a warmth to her expression, and I think as she walks around the desk, that kind of fades away, and she looks impassive. It's hard to tell what she's thinking sometimes. Pilot, if you don't have any other questions, I'm afraid I have things I need to attend to prepare myself, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yes, of course. I'll talk to you later, Mira.
As you say her name, the handler smiles, and once again, very pointedly, doesn't correct you. Of course, Artemis. I'll see you in a day or two.
Artemis quietly leaves the room.
It's been another day. It's like the next day at this point. And The three of you, at some point, are all told that you need to be in the briefing room of the base for a mission briefing. So all three of you have been told to come assemble by some random staff member. Presumably you're all going to go do that.
Absolutely.
I don't see why not.
Excellent.
Cass does what she's told.
Excellent. So the three of you walk in. There's a room in the base that's set up as a pilot's briefing room. I think this looks very similar to what a real pilot's briefing room looks like, which is basically like you have some seats that are arranged in kind of like a stadium seating arrangement so that a group of pilots can all see what's happening down below, and then there's like a table with like maps and stuff. This room is designed for maybe a cadre of a few people. It's got more seats than there can be pilots, but the idea is that there might be support personnel. However, right now it's very, very empty. There's just the three of you there. I think there's probably a couple of support personnel that you don't necessarily recognize. And there's Major Attali standing at the bottom of the stadium seating, and she is standing by the map. Once the three of you are all settled into your seats, where are you all sitting in the room? There's pretty much sit wherever you want, but do you all sit right down in front?
I think Artemis does.
I think Cass out of habit sits in the front as well.
How many seats are in the front?
Let's say we've got a row of maybe, we'll say it's like a 6x5 arrangement. There's like 30 seats in total, and like the support personnel are all kind of in the back.
I think Artemis sat in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Cass sit?
At the end of the row.
Okay.
Artemis scoots a chair closer to you.
Cass notices and gives you a small nod of approval.
Eurydice sits on the opposite side of the row from Cass.
Okay. So you're in the front, but you're way over at the other end. Awesome. As the three of you sit down, the Major looks at all of you, and then she taps the map. Pilots, since the Colonel is away on business for the next day or two, it's just you and me. We've got a little bit of a public relations mission that we want all three of you to be on. You're going to be going and assisting in the recovery operations of the civilian airliner that recently crashed. She looks at you, Eurydice, as she says this, as if she's like expecting you to say something.
Eurydice does not meet Major Attali's gaze.
She watches you, and then after that, she just kind of nods and looks away. The aircraft went down 2 days ago in Grid C4, near the UFAS radar base in the side of the mountains. As far as we know, there are no survivors, but the Foundation wants all of you there to assist in recovery and generally help people to feel safe. I'm going to be honest with you. This is a PR thing. You're there to make people feel better. You're there to put on a good face for the Foundation. You're there to shake hands and make sure everyone stays calm. As she's saying this, she turns to, there's like a screen at the head of the briefing room, and she holds up a remote and clicks it on, and you see a diagram appear on the screen. It shows a kind of a like a generic version of a frame, and there's this device attached to it that I think all of you are familiar with. That there's a device that allows you to enter and leave your frame in the field, something that's normally not really possible, but this is something that allows you to kind of get in and out quickly. It requires some modifications to the cockpit, and it requires some, equipment in the field. This is the AS-A37 Rapid Reentry System. I trust you're all familiar with it from your training. As she says this, she looks at you specifically, Artemis.
Am I?
Yeah, I think you've received very cursory training in how to use a similar system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've used stuff like it before.
Excellent. That's good to hear, pilot. You're going to be going out in the field. You're going to get out of your frames. You're going to talk to our media liaison. You're going to pose for the cameras. You're going to smile, and you're going to talk about how proud you are to serve the Foundation. And you're going to stay the hell out of the way while the rescue crews do their job. Am I understood, pilots?
Loud and clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Cass nods.
Now, do any of you have any questions?
Cass raises their hand.
The Major nods to you and points. Pilot?
You can see Cass struggling with her mouth for a moment, as if she's putting it in the right place to say what she wants to say. How many dead?
The Major looks at you for a minute, narrows her eyes, and then she glances over at Eurydice. The airliner had 180 souls on board, including passengers, cabin crew, and the pilots. As far as we know, they were all killed instantly when they hit the side of the mountain.
Eurydice winces and tugs at her hair a little bit.
Cass's eyebrows furrow. It's like literal gears are in her brain as the information she's getting inputs with how this new mind of hers works. Then why rescue?
Pilot, I didn't say rescue. I said recovery. If you don't understand the difference, I expect you're about to find out. Dismissed. And at that, I think the Major shuts down the screen. The lights in the briefing room return to normal, and she leaves. And there are a crew there to help take you to your frames. I think this time you've gotten into your frames probably a couple times since the mission that you went on a couple of days ago, just to do diagnostics and checking everything. And Artemis, you've started to become familiar with the process, and the other two are already familiar with the process of going to the hangar, riding the elevator up to the gantry, and then being loaded on. The loading process is a little different with the rapid reentry equipment attached, but it's not that different. You're ultimately in the same place. You're in your cockpits. You're strapped in. You're experiencing that feeling that your body is expanding, and suddenly your senses are sharper and clearer, and you can feel almost what your frame would feel. Are any of you planning to do anything while you're sort of like in transit to the mission, or as you're booting up your frame?
Am I still feeling watched?
Yeah, I think you still feel that.
I'd like to dive deep.
You want to dive deep? Okay.
I want to see why I feel so watched.
Okay. So, when you dive deep into your link and commune with your vital frame, spend heat and roll. So, are you planning to spend heat on this?
I do have a heat to spend.
Are you going to spend it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. All right. I marked that. Go ahead and roll.
Okay. That's an 8 plus 1, that's a 9.
That's a 9. Okay. You may speak with her freely. At the end of your conversation, you may choose one. And do you want to have the conversation first and then you choose one?
Let's have a conversation.
Okay. So tell me, what does it look like to you to dive deep? Like, what are you doing to immerse yourself in your connection to your frame? And what does it feel like?
So in the pilot cockpit, is it just like what's going on in the cockpit? Is there any sort of like is it like an Evangelion mech where there's liquid?
Yeah, I don't know if there's liquid necessarily, but like It's a cockpit like Evangelion, where it's leaning very heavily into like the fact that you're connected to this neural link, at least in your frame. You have a newer frame. So there's not much in the cockpit. There's a seat and there's some shit around it to like do life support and everything, and you're plugged into a lot of things, but like you don't have a lot in the way of controls. And what you're seeing on the outside world is kind of like it's linking your ability to see up to your frame's like sensors and camera.
All right, so I close my eyes and I sort of let my brain become liquid. I sort of, when you're about to fall asleep and you just sort of let your body become liquid and become one with the bed? It's like that.
Okay. So you're as you're doing this, as you're sort of letting yourself fall deeper and deeper, you notice that your senses dull. The sense of the outside world drops away. You can't see what the frame sees anymore. It almost feels like you're falling asleep, where everything kind of gets dim and your body starts to feel heavy. And then as you're doing this, you start to perceive a sense that there's something else in here with you. Not necessarily like something you can see, but this feeling of a presence, kind of like what you felt before, but much, much stronger. You get the sense that not only are you being watched, but there is someone in here with you. And you can hear the soft noise of something breathing and what sounds like a heartbeat. You don't hear anyone saying anything, but you feel like you're being keenly observed right now.
Hello?
You're not me.
I've never had a frame that talked back like this.
You feel something. It's like the sound of somebody laughing, but you don't actually hear anything. Like you can feel it, not hear it. You're a prisoner, too.
That's one way to put it. What's going on here? Is there a person trapped in my frame?
We are. You can't understand yet.
I mean, yeah, no, I don't understand. What the fuck?
Not one of us yet. Not me anymore either. Something else. Who are you?
They call me Eurydice.
Who are you?
After 20 years, who fucking knows? But they used to call me Cordelia.
Cordelia? Again, that feeling like somebody is laughing at you. After a second, you feel something else. There's a sensation like somebody curling up tightly into a ball. Somebody who's been hurt. A wince, a flinch. Again, it doesn't sound like anything. You just feel it. Hurts us. Hurts you.
Are you okay?
As you ask this, you feel a sensation like you've been struck in the face. It feels like when the major punched you in the eye. There's a sudden flash of white and a feeling of pain, and all of a sudden you snap back to awareness. You are in your frame and you are suspended from the aircraft that's taking you to your mission site, and you don't remember how you got there. And I want you to choose one of the following. I alter myself to be a better pilot for her, erasing an identity and writing a new one, or embracing a tag. I lobotomize myself to grow something more fitting, erasing any number of identities. I regrow a damaged asset and gain void. You don't have any damaged assets. And I am subsumed by her. The cockpit is locked. All vitals are dead, yet she continues to fight. Perhaps I will return, but not soon, which doesn't feel super appropriate for the situation.
I feel like the best option would be I alter myself to be a better pilot for her, erasing an identity and writing a new one.
Okay, well, what do you want to do with it? You can write a new identity of your choosing, or you can embrace a tag of your choosing.
I feel like I want to erase malfunctioning.
Okay, what would you like to replace it with?
Independent.
All right, go on, take it.
Also, you should ask the handler if you can mark curious to get some heat or something. Like maybe, I don't know, just a thought.
I think you 100% can mark curious and take 3 heat.
Okay.
All right. So as you're coming back into awareness, you're feeling the sensation that the aircraft is lowering. They're not going to drop you for this. This isn't a combat deployment. The transport aircraft flies in and unhooks the frames, and you can all see that there's an operation to recover what's left of the aircraft in the area. This is an area with there's a mountain that sweeps up from where you're deployed. There is at the top of it a radar facility for the military. And there's mostly civilian and some military personnel all over the place. There's trucks and cranes and people wearing bright orange vests. It's clearly been underway for a couple of days. And up on the side of the mountain, you can see a scorched spot. A spot where the trees have been damaged and burned away. As you're being unhooked and the aircraft flies away, you can hear a voice in your ears. It's Major Attali.
All right, pilots. Time to dismount and meet your new best friend.
And I think at that, there's an indicator in the cockpit that's essentially letting you know that you're being prompted to exit your frames using the rapid reentry system, which is a thing I think you all know how to do well enough under not stressful conditions.
Yep.
If you're all going to come out.
Absolutely.
You open up the cockpit to your frames and you can see it's a cold day. It's January. The air is chilly. You can see your breath as you're breathing out. And yeah, you descend. This is a system that uses like a cable descent system. You're down on the ground. You're at the feet of your frames, just looking up at these massive mechanical beings. I don't know if we mentioned this in the first episode, but these are big. The shortest of them, the corpsman, the one that Cass pilots, is 15 meters tall. And the tallest of them, the Lucerne, is 20 meters tall. So these are the size of like a 5-story building, just towering up above you. As you're standing there, you see a woman walking up to you. She's wearing a United Federation Armed Services uniform. She has like a beret on and a field uniform. And you can see as she gets closer that she has a captain's rank insignia on her. And she comes up and salutes, and really quick above table, "Hey Chrissy.
Yes?
I'm gonna toss you an NPC to play for a little bit."
Yo!
Because Cass is tends to talk a little less. So I'm gonna give you a quick rundown on who this is and her general kind of vibe, and then you can just kind of play it out as the NPC. This is Captain Lillian Banks. She is the media liaison officer for the United Federation Armed Services Area Command. So she's basically here to run damage control.
I think the first thing the captain notices as Artemis exits the mech is the fact that Artemis stumbles a little bit, clearly still learning the finer details of this sort of maneuver.
Lillian winces, but keeps a big smile plastered on her face, and I think she also has really perfect lipstick on.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Jonaya, may I mark clumsy?
Yeah, go on and mark it and take 2 heat.
Okay, that brings me to 5. I have to spend all of it next time I roll, right?
You sure do.
Cool.
Lillian walks up to you guys, purposeful but peppy step, and doesn't extend a hand to you, Artemis. She comes over, gives a little nod to Cass and Eurydice, and says, "Why, yes, hello, yes, Artemis, right?
Oh, yes, hi.
Pleasure as always. So, this is one hell of a fuck-up here.
You don't say.
Yes, this is, I have to say, it's okay. I'm going to walk you all through it." So, she gestures to the recovery site. "We're not going to take photos of that." She gestures to a very clear scene that they fabricated, and it's this very pretty backdrop. Clearly they moved some trees around, they moved some rocks, so there's like this unusual like flat surface that fits the three of you just right. And there's snowy trees and long glistening fields of white behind it. And she says, "We're gonna post you guys right there, and we're going to have it look like you're looking up at the wreckage, but not actually show any bits of the wreckage."
Okay, yeah, whatever you need.
Yes, great. So, go by that hair and makeup guy right over there. He will make you look windswept, shiny, but not too shiny.
I think as the captain is telling you all this, you're being kind of ushered through this process by, like, there's a lot of PAs, production assistants, and types, that type of people around, and they're basically, like, guiding you all through what is effectively, like, hair and makeup at this point. There's a specific image they want for you.
Clothing. We need new clothing. Jeremy.
As you're saying all this about clothes, I think at this, somebody comes up to you. I don't think they're like a production assistant. I think it's actually like your lieutenant who's there to sort of help you out. And he leans into you and whispers, "Sir, we got to keep the suits on, sir. You can put stuff over them, but you can't lose the suits. Remember?"
Yes, you're right. Thank you again, Jeremy.
Lieutenant Jeremy nods and backs away to go do something else.
So Lillian looks at you guys and goes, "Well, okay, we will keep the suits on, but we will decorate."
Chrissy, since I've given you this NPC, what does this look like? What is decorate? I would like to imagine that they're really trying to play up this humanitarian aid thing for this. So I'm guessing probably putting on some like high-vis jacket type thing, maybe some of the coats that the rescue workers are wearing, that kind of stuff. Does that sound like the vibe that Lillian's gonna go for here?
Absolutely. Like, decorate. It also could mean sticking on some patches.
Oh, excellent. Yes, perfect.
So, like, there'll be, like, the signs of humanitarian aid, signs of, like, in case, like, at whatever angle she's going to position them at, they'll always make sure there's a symbol of the Federation forces, of the humanitarian sign, and there'll always be, like, something about it. She might also apply, like, a little bit of really tasteful, like, roughage, like, little tasteful dirt here and there. Like, looks like they've been transversing, but, like, really beautifully.
I think as this is going on, what's happening is your hair is done. You've got some people like throwing various accessories on you. Everything is really just kind of happening to you. You're being pulled through this process. There's the director of photography who's directing you as far as like, stand here, pose with this, hold this creative stuff, look concerned. Like, all of this is just kind of happening to all of you. And I'm curious what's going through the three of your minds right now as all of this happens to you.
Can I make a request for the makeup specifically?
Go for it.
So I think that while the makeup for Artemis and Cass is meant to make them look very, well, for Cass to make it look more human, and for Artemis to make it look like beautiful and ethereal.
Right.
For Eurydice, the makeup is made to accentuate her age.
Interesting.
Specifically to show the world that, oh, no, the pilots don't just all die young. You can live a long and happy life as a pilot.
You know what? Yes, I think that absolutely happens. I think they really they darken under your eyes. They probably
They actually, I think Lillian goes over to you and goes this. I like this. I like this old vibe here. Jeremy, add some paint here. Put some more gray in her hair. Really play it up.
As you say this, Lieutenant Jeremy immediately finds someone whose job it actually is to do those things and orders them to do it. Ironically, because of the constant medical intervention involved in piloting, I don't think pilots age in the same way that people normally do. I think you probably have less of wrinkles and all of that, and more of battle damage and just this sort of hollowed out look that you get as you're exposed to piloting the frames. But I think that they're going to specifically do makeup to make you look like you have those normal signs of aging. I'm curious. It's been a couple days, but I'm sure the injuries you got from Major Attali are still there. What do you think they do with that? Do you think that they cover it up? Do you think they try to make it look like this is something that you hurt yourself while you were heroically trying to recover somebody from the wreckage or something like that?
I think they cover up the black eye. That one doesn't look like heroic battle damage.
Yeah.
They keep the split lip.
Okay.
That one looks much more like heroic battle damage. And I think they add a scar.
Yeah.
I think everyone might be getting scars.
Okay, yeah. You know what? I think Cass and Eurydice, you've both probably got some scars that you came by honestly. I think for Artemis, they're gonna want to add something very tasteful. I don't even think it's a scar exactly. I think they add something that makes it look like you maybe roughed up your forehead a little bit. Just a little bit of red, you got a little cut there. But they want to keep you looking flawless because you're their poster girl. So, yeah, what do the three of you feel about all of this? What's going through your minds right now?
Eurydice has done this before. She's just sort of letting it happen.
I think Artemis is really genuinely trying to go along, do a good job, be what they need her to be. I think Artemis is not overly concerned about the moral quandary of what's happening here and is instead, I'm going to do a really, really good job.
Of course.
And just, kind of eagerly hopping between wherever it's told to go.
What about Cass?
Cass is harder to work with than the other two girls. Cass is having a hard time controlling her facial expressions, I imagine.
That makes sense.
And I think in her mind, she's a little overwhelmed because she has memories of doing this.
Right.
But she can't remember what she did in them, what her position was and how they decorated her. She remembers doing photo shoots, but she can't remember how she felt during them and what she did during them. And I think she might even keep glancing at Eurydice during this, peeving Lillian because Lillian wants her to look a certain way. And there's Cass, doing a manic smile in some scenes for some reason. And she keeps seeming to look at Eurydice because for some reason to Cass, she doesn't know why. Every time she thinks about it, for some reason Eurydice, she just has a feeling Eurydice was there.
Mm-hmm.
And she keeps thinking maybe she looks at Eurydice, she'll remember something about herself during those times. It's for her, and during all this, she's getting yelled at by the camera people and trying to do what they're telling her to do. It's overall very overwhelming experience for her.
Mm-hmm. I think at a certain point, Cass, they stop trying to like make you the focal point and are just confident. They're just satisfied to have you not look completely out of place. Like, I think they tend to have you like behind the other two or like off to the side or slightly out of focus. It's okay if you're like kind of looking brooding and not really doing much. That's fine. They've sort of made their peace with that you're going to be more difficult for them to get a performance out of, and they're really focusing on the other two.
And I think another thing that they do is they keep having her place things in front of her chest so the camera doesn't pick up that she doesn't have any breasts.
You know what? Yeah, they probably do. Also again, aided by the fact that you're kept out of focus a lot.
Yeah.
Everyone is a little uncomfortable around you three to some extent. The captain is, if she is in fact uncomfortable, doing a really good job of hiding it, but like hiding stuff is her whole job. I think everyone else, they act standoffish towards you. They don't really seem comfortable with the three of you, and you in particular, Cass, make them really uncomfortable.
I have been working on a plan to connect the entire Earth Kingdom using Kuvira's old train system.
The Earth Kingdom is out of balance, and Sabi, Hanako, and Chong are here to do their part. But the far reaches of the Earth Kingdom are in no less peril than the city they left behind.
That's Town Hall, where all those really angry-looking people are.
Their journey will uncover corruption.
I know that you're not protecting her brother, that she knows that the money stopped.
Secrets.
Apparently, this weird cult moved into one of the buildings on the outskirts of town.
And ghosts from the past, both welcome.
Chong sees them, and without thinking, just starts rushing towards them, yelling like, "Guys, hey, hey!"
And unwanted.
Hikaru?
The story continues in Moment of Balance, Book 3, Ash. Available on the Bard Rock Network, July 20th, 2026.
Planning to just sit around the house all summer with nothing to do? Do you want to do something exciting that's worth bragging to all your friends about on the first day of school? Then come to Camp Starry Nights. We're a sleepaway camp here on the shores of scenic Candlewood Lake. You'll enjoy exciting summer activities such as orienteering.
It would be fun to have the secret map.
Sleeping underneath the stars. Our beloved Starry Nights Out.
So my Oma, just to tell the story to scare us. It's about the Patsenvorm.
And even strutting your stuff for all your new friends in our popular Starfinder talent show.
Hey, Lily, you don't think that the counselors would let me shoot an apple off your head, do you?
We're celebrating the camp's 60th anniversary this year, so it will be extra exciting. Oh my stars! Listen to Starry Nights, a new magical girl-themed summer camp TTRPG adventure. Available now everywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts.
After a while, things calm down. They've gotten a bunch of shots, maybe a little video, and the three of you are left by yourselves for a little while. The captain comes in and tells you that they'll be back in 10 minutes, and you've all got a chance to take a little bit of a break. I think they give you some water, maybe they give you a little food, and the three of you are just kind of able to talk freely. So you're sitting in probably a tent. You can see the side of the mountain. You can see your frames. You can see all the people doing everything. And yeah, you've got an opportunity to just kind of chat with each other. There's no one else here. Some people come in and out, but no one's really paying attention to you.
I want to go up to Artemis.
Yeah, Artemis actually, I was going to say the same. Artemis was going to go look at Eurydice.
Yeah, all three of you are in the same location, so you can talk freely.
Hey.
You're
a natural at that.
Really?
No wonder they gave you the Lucerne.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel supernatural.
This is the weirdest part of the job. You just gotta smile and look pretty, but hey, no one dies.
We take what we can get. Hey, I was gonna ask, are you doing okay?
Eurydice looks at the mark on the mountain and looks away. She's gotta try not to think about it.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably all it is. After you got out of your mech, I don't know, you were walking differently?
Huh. Maybe. You really think they're all dead? I feel like maybe I've just gotten so used to being a little superhuman, but all of them?
It's pretty hard for most people to survive a plane crash.
At least we're not on the recovery team.
Yeah, I was really worried that was going to be the case.
Are you doing okay? You're worried about me, but I've done this shit before. You're the one parading around a smile in front of people who you watched me kill.
I don't know. I don't have to look at it. I'm just sitting in front of cameras. It's not that hard.
See, like I said, natural.
I don't know. I guess acting for people comes kind of naturally.
You were an actor?
No, not really. I'm just used to, pretending for other people's benefit.
I think the part of the conversation that she had with the handler earlier about how similar Artemis is to pinup sort of flashes through her eyes, and she's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, no. I know what you're talking about. At least you don't have to do that as much here.
I don't think I know what you mean.
You should look up some info about the girl whose room you're staying in.
Oh, yeah, that one was, pin-up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can look into it when we get back to base.
Real pretty face of the Cadre.
What happened to her?
Same thing that happened to everyone else. You'll probably find out about it when doing a little research.
I guess. Why do you do that?
Do what?
I don't know. You're always so vague about things.
Well, part of it is we are always being watched, you know? Kind of learn to speak in codes.
I think Artemis kind of freezes up and looks around a little bit. You get the feeling that it didn't quite occur to it that, in fact, that is true. Or at least, maybe it has occurred to it, but it's still adjusting to the fact. Yeah, I suppose so. How am I supposed to look into it if you're not supposed to talk about it?
You'll find a way. You're smart. Also, part of the vagaries is just, you know, how the hell am I supposed to talk about every single one of my friends dying on the same day?
Oh. Yeah, that's, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
You'll find it out when you research it.
Okay.
As you're having this conversation, you can hear in the distance from up on the mountain, it sounds like some piece of the wreckage has shifted or broken free. There's a noise of some trees cracking, and in the distance you can hear people shouting, and some of the people in this area go running off to investigate what happened exactly.
Yeah, okay. I'll do my best. I mean, and Artemis kind of looks to Cass and then back to you. Not all of your friends, though? At least?
Cass, can you hear this? Are you close enough to hear them talking?
I was wondering about that, because I think...
Probably, yes.
Probably.
Yeah, I think you are. If you want to respond to them, I'm going to make you roll bad at being a person, by the way.
You know, I think I will.
Well, Cass, go on and roll bad at being a person. Spend heat if desired and roll. You have...
I have no heat.
Oh, you have no heat. That's right.
I did roll a 9, though.
Oh, that is excellent. In that case, you can pick 3 of the list you can do. All others you can't. So pick 3 of these that you can do, and the rest you can't.
Okay, I'm gonna pick human words, normal sentence structure. Might
I suggest correct facial expressions?
I was thinking about, yes. I'll do correct facial expressions. Cass hears you say this, Eurydice. I think this time she's sat a little bit away and she's munching on one of the snacks the crew left behind, and she hasn't been facing you guys. She's been looking up at the mountain and looking and watching the recovery team. And as you say that, she turns around. She looks at you both and she says, You're not wrong. I wish I remembered. I wish I knew who I was to you. 'Cause that person, I can't remember who that person was anymore. And then she turns back around and keeps watching the recovery team and chewing on her snack.
When Cass started speaking, Eurydice bristled like a scared cat.
I think Artemis sits in the silence for a second, looking between the two of them. She didn't mean to set this off in the way that she feels like she has. Sorry, maybe I better go and see if they need us for anything.
Eurydice is staring at Cass and mutters, I haven't heard her say that many words in over a month.
Yeah, I know.
It's about this moment that Captain Lillian Banks comes back in, and Captain Banks, you're here to grab Artemis. You're going to take it back out to the staged area and sit down and have a little bit of an interview. So Artemis, you're once again kind of hustled along by all of the people that are helping to keep this thing running. As you're going out, you can definitely see that whatever happened, whatever shifted or fell, it looks like the crews have it under control. It looks like maybe there's the possibility that something might catch on fire, but they've got fire crews there. It looks like things are pretty well under control. Honestly, the 3 of you are very much just there for this photo shoot. And yeah, Captain Banks, if you wanna interview Artemis.
All right. Hello, world. I am here with the 90 Seconds Cadre's newest pilot, Artemis. Artemis, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks. It's nice to be here.
So, Artemis, the world is so curious to know more about you. Would you mind answering some questions?
Yeah, of course. Anything you need.
So, first and foremost, tell us, what made you want to become a pilot?
Oh, I think Artemis's face drops for just a moment, and then she recovers, and she puts on a smile again. It's, I ended up losing a lot of my family, all of them, really, in, some of the recent attacks. And I realized that there was a way for me to do something help people, to stop people from having to go through that kind of thing.
What an incredibly noble and generous reason to join!
I guess, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The Federation forces are all about protecting the people, protecting the world, protecting families. And here you are, a prime example of someone out there looking to protect who is dearest to them. And helping others protect who is dearest to them as well. Second question. What has been some of your favorite parts of being a pilot so far?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that's happening now, and I think the biggest thing has got to be getting the chance to pilot the Lucerne. I mean, she's a crazy powerful frame, and being inside of her just feels amazing. There's nothing
and
like.
And tell us more about that. More about the energy, the excitement, the thrill it must be piloting such an impressive frame and getting to use her to defend our beloved Federation.
Artemis pauses, and I think the camera shows a flash back to Artemis's point of view as the plane gets shot down. And then it's amazing. The Lucerne, she just feels so big, and getting to be there and working with her is so amazing. It's like being a part of something greater than yourself and getting to give yourself entirely to someone who can do so much good for the world, so much more than you could possibly do on your own.
That is such a touching sentiment.
Actually, I have a play I want to make real quick. You seem like you've heard of my frame's legacy, so you get to pick one from this list.
Yo, I totally knew Blondie.
Yeah.
And Lillian's nodding along, listening. She's probably the most active listener you have ever seen. She is enthusiastically nodding, lots of yes, and lots of eye contact. And after you finish your answer with the Lucerne, she goes, It is such a beautiful, powerful frame. You know, I believe the last person to pilot your frame was the very popular Blondie. And now, unfortunately, Blondie did pass, heroically defending our Federation and for our beliefs and for us to live our best lives. Do you feel any of that legacy on you now that you are piloting such a beloved and well-known frame?
Oh, absolutely. I think about it all the time. Every time I get in the frame. Did you know her?
Lillian's eyes widen when you say her. Now, Artemis, little slip of the tongue there, I'm sure you meant to refer to it as it, but you know what, folks? Not going to worry about that there. But yes, I did interview it many a time. Blondie was a wonderful pilot and had a great, charming, enthusiastic approach to everything. In fact, I can't think of another pilot that I've seen smile as much as I saw Blondie. And, you know, it was also very family-oriented.
How do you think it managed to keep a smile so often?
Well, Artemis, I have to say, I think it knew it was doing great work defending our beloved Federation and knowing that it was doing everything within its power to keep its family safe.
Well, then I guess we're not too different after all.
Hey, who knows? You're already on a great path to perhaps even surpassing Blondie's popularity. You do seem to have quite a knack for this. Let's see in the future if you can keep it up.
I'll do my best. Yeah, you can give me a tag now, comparing me and Blondie.
Impressionable.
Yep. Okay. I think at this point is when Lillian starts to wrap the interview, starts to gestures to the camera operator and does a we'll fix it in post about the accidentally using she for Blondie.
I think she snaps her fingers and goes like, all right, that's a wrap. We'll, don't worry about that, Artemis. The little, slip of the tongue there, we'll fix that. We'll make you look good.
So, and I think at this, so mechanically, I think it's gonna trigger two things that you've got, Dami.
2 plays I would like to make.
Yeah, the 2 plays are going to be Smile for the Camera, which is a frame play, and the other one is going to be Show Dog, which is a playbook play for the girl. Why don't you roll for Smile for the Camera, and then we'll do Show Dog.
Works for me.
You have at least 5 heat, which means you have to spend all of it when you roll. Spend all of that heat, baby, and roll.
All 5. This can only go fine.
Yep, this is a plus 5.
Oh, wow. That is still a 10.
That's crazy.
I rolled a 5.
That is amazing. Okay, clear all your heat, and then you choose one. It says if you don't let your fan base down before the next time you go off duty, you'll gain an extra permission in the form of fan mail or donations, and pick one of the 2. Reject any tags that don't line up with what your fan base demands of you. They may give you a tag relating to what they do demand of you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you can do what your fan base demands right here and right now, raise your status.
Okay.
Your status is already at the top.
Yeah. So I guess I will pick the first one. Do I want to reject any of these tags? Patriotic and impressionable. Let's see.
I feel like, so your fan base demands that you be sexy and a queer icon.
I would like to reject the patriotic tag. Is that reasonable?
Absolutely. Go ahead. Let's replace that with something else that your fan base expects of you. And you know what? I'll let you pitch a suggestion based on how that interview went. How do you think your fan base would see you in light of everything that you just said?
Cutesy, right? Like in a very particular, like, girly, effeminate kind of way.
Kawaii, let's go for it. Okay, so yeah, your fan base has given you the tag kawaii, and you've rejected patriotic. And now we're going to do the other play, which is Show Dog, which is from the Princess Playbook, which you took as a swap out. So that one is when your handler shows you off, roll -1 if you're the dog, +1 if you're a wing, and +3, that's you if you're the ace.
Yep. And that is another 10.
Excellent. Choose 1 to 2 and describe it. You're too much in the public eye for the Foundation to punish you, at least for now. And you've got a whole list of things you can do, and I'll let you pick from the list and tell me what they are, and we'll describe it.
I want to present a particular appearance.
Okay.
Which is the idea that the Foundation cares, right?
Okay.
Like that we're all here to do good for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And I think, does anybody else have any thoughts? I think I can do another one, but I think that's the main one that Artemis is in character specifically trying to do right now.
Might also have put some level of attention on Blondie.
Yeah, I think I have put Blondie in the public eye. There's a resurgence of interest in Blondie and what might have happened to it. Yeah.
So yeah, you have presented this appearance. You've kind of raised public awareness of Blondie. I don't think anything you've done really is gonna get you punished. So you're doing all this. You're wrapping the interview. Lillian is chatting with you amicably about nothing in particular. You're standing there watching her talking, and all of a sudden you hear the sound of a gunshot, and the side of Lillian's head explodes into a shower of blood, and her body drops like a sack of concrete. I don't think you realize how quickly someone falls down when they're just completely dead. She's standing up and then she's on the ground. And you turn and you see one of the soldiers that's been here to guard this place holding a rifle, and just something about them looks off. They're moving in an unnatural way, and they're holding this rifle and pointing it at you now. And I think this is a chance for you to make a play to get through here.
I'm gonna keep my head. I would like to try to survive this asshole.
So yeah, you're trying to survive. You're out of heat.
I am out of heat.
Go
I can
on
just roll
and
flat.
Roll. You roll flat.
It's a 7.
Okay, you choose one you are, and the others you definitely aren't.
I think in this case, Artemis is tough enough. I think Artemis... I guess you get to state specifically what happens here.
I want you to tell me what Artemis does in this moment, and then I'm going to make a play in response.
Yeah. I think Artemis is trying to dive for cover, preferably in a direction that is closer to the frames.
You dive for cover. You hit the ground, and you hear the sound of the rifle shoot again. And the first round actually goes into the body of Lillian, and it looks like it was aimed there. And then the second and third rounds fly wide. One of them hits near you on the dirt, but they don't seem like they're being aimed by a trained soldier exactly. And as you watch this soldier, they lurch towards you a couple of steps, and then as they're moving, all of a sudden, it looks like their body disintegrates. Like you took a wet piece of paper and just ripped it. And they're ripped in half by something that you can't quite see, and you see this body just disintegrate and fall down into the dirt. And I'm going to cut over to Cass and Eurydice, who you've now heard several gunshots coming from outside, and people are starting to freak out and run around and trying to respond to what's happening. What are you two gonna do right now?
I'm gonna run towards the frames.
Excellent.
I also am going to run towards the frames.
Okay. Artemis, as you're laying there on the ground, you can see the other two running towards the frames, and you, as you're laying there, you can see other people around that are both being... It looks like something is puppeting them, almost. And as you're watching this, you see at least one person where you can see some kind of like a tendril coming up out of the ground, and it seems like it merges with this person, and then suddenly their movements change, and then after a few seconds, their parts of them are torn off. They're tossed aside like something is throwing away trash in bloody heaps. And you can hear that noise from before, that noise of trees cracking or something falling up on the mountain is growing louder. And you can see trees being taken down up on the mountain. What are you going to do now? You're not under any immediate threat. Like, the person who's shooting at you has been dismembered, so...
Artemis, I don't think, has a moment to recover, and is... Well, no.
Does Artemis, this is something that you've never experienced before?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I am taking a look over at the things that I'm definitely not again, because Artemis is not desperate enough right now. And so I think that what that means is that Artemis takes a moment to breathe and steady itself before it goes for the frame. And I think that what that is going to fundamentally mean is that the other two are going to get a moment to start doing stuff before Artemis makes it to the Lucerne.
Absolutely, that makes sense. Also, I want you to take a tag for this.
Okay.
I'm thinking of what makes sense. I want you to take the tag numb. I think as all this is happening, you find yourself, you're able to focus, but it feels wrong. It doesn't feel like you're clear-headed. It feels like you're just falling back into whatever training you have, and you're having a hard time doing anything other than just focusing in on stealing yourself, or whatever this is.
Yeah.
So Cass and Eurydice, you're able to get to your frames. You've started to see the same thing happening, where you've got these people that look like they're being scooped up by something and puppeted around and ripped apart and thrown down. And you're able to get into your frames. You're able to use the rapid reentry system to get back up into the cockpit, and immediately, I'm assuming, are going to try to plug in.
Oh, of course.
As soon as you do this, so everything comes back in, and you've got this awareness, you've got all of your sensors, you've got everything available to you, and you can hear on the radio the voice of Major Attali.
Cadre pilots, this is Space. Anyone copy?
Eurydice, copy.
We've confirmed the presence of a Gorgon. Are the three of you combat ready?
I'm ready.
Here.
Waiting on analytics for designation and type, but believe that the Gorgon is...
And as soon as you hear this word, the radio cuts out into just this persistent static. The noise of a radio that's been tuned to a dead channel. Are the two of you going to try to make a play to do anything here, keeping in mind that you have the ability to do things like check your sensors, or...
I want to check my sensors. After that mistake that was made last time, I want to check my sensors.
I love it. All right, roll. You can spend heat if you want. Do you have any?
I do. I'm going to use 2 heat.
All right, spend 2 heat and roll.
That heat didn't even do anything because I rolled a fucking 3.
All right, so you get a 5.
So I get 1 question from the list.
Yeah, you can ask 1 question from the list. Do you have the list in front of you?
Yes.
Okay.
What do satellites say the enemy is doing?
You check your satellite feed. You switch over to try to get some information from the Foundation's satellites in the area. They have all kinds of thermal and imaging and other sensing equipment. And as soon as you do this, the satellite feed is dead. This is in no way normal. You should be able to connect with the satellites. You're in the open. You know they're overhead, and you can't see anything from them. The thing is, you've been doing this a long time, and you know what this means. This means that you're near a Gorgon that has the ability to disrupt communications, to cause corruption in the area where you can't communicate in or out. So everywhere around here, you could probably communicate with your fellow pilots, maybe, but you definitely can't communicate with anyone outside of the area. Everyone who's in this area, I want you to take the corrupted tag. This will be in effect as long as the area you're in is corrupted.
Okay.
As you're doing this, as you're trying to get something off of your sensors, I think at this point is when Artemis is able to finally get to its frame. And Artemis, you reel yourself up, you plug yourself into your cockpit, and as soon as you boot everything up, you notice that most of your sensors seem to not be working the way that they should. You can't get through to anyone outside. Your information that should be coming in from all the satellites is just dead. Everything is pretty limited. You just have the sensors that are actually on your physical frame, and the short range direct communication between the frames. So you can all talk to each other, but
okay,
something is obviously going wrong, and I don't think, Artemis, that you have the context to know exactly what's happening.
Does anybody know what we need to do?
Artemis, you're back. Good.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, yeah. What do we need to do?
We have a Gorgon in the area. It's disrupting all the sensors. We have no idea where it is, what it is. We're going in blind.
Okay. All right.
The only thing we've picked up on is there is some sort of noise coming from the site of the crash.
I guess that's where we're going then.
The three of you can see below you that, like, everything that was happening with the people being, as far as you can tell, possessed by something has continued.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever this is using them like disposable dolls.
I take it that once someone is corrupted, they're already gone, right?
As an NPC, they sure are.
Okay, so we are not going to waste time.
They are being torn apart like tissue paper down there. And up along the mountain, you can see this something writhing up there. And as you watch, you see something is rising up over the scorched area where the aircraft came down, and you can actually see pieces of the aircraft being held by these just tendrils they look like meat. They're dripping and fleshy and writhing everywhere. This is clearly a Gorgon. It's mostly in one place right now. It doesn't seem to have any particular goal, but it looks like it can extend its reach through these tendrils that it has.
I'm going in. The two of you cover me.
Got it.
Heard.
You sure you want to take the lead?
Someone has to, and I think she just goes.
Okay, are you going to be making a play here?
Not yet. I don't think. I want to get a closer look at the Gorgon, because the way that it was described, it seems like it was kind of far away and still pretty tough for me to get a clear read on what was going on with it.
Yeah.
So I want to get a better visual on it before I commit to anything, I think.
Yeah. No, that sounds smart. The three of you you've kicked your frames into gear. You're running towards the side of the mountain. You're crushing trees and just plowing through the terrain. And as you're getting closer, you can see whatever is happening with this. It looks like some mass of these tendrils has formed itself up under the wreckage of the plane, and it's just swarming around in this coalescing mass of strange alien flesh. It looks, for a brief second, I think at least one of you thinks of the idea of Medusa and her, snakes for hair, this just writhing mass. And as you're getting closer, you can feel something in your head. It just, like, as you get closer, it starts to hurt. And then the pain subsides, and I think you're all aware that something in your frame is helping to tune out whatever this is, whatever is causing this feeling. But you know that it's doing something to you mentally, and it doesn't seem to be attacking yet, but this is obviously a Gorgon, and it's not clear where its core is. It looks like it's just a mass of tendrils at this point.
Have I been I've been trained, right?
Yes.
How in lore is the general understood vibe of, like, you gotta attack the Gorgon to expose its core so that you can kill it?
So the Foundation's been around long enough that they figured out that all of the Gorgons seem to have some kind of a core, that when it's destroyed, it causes the whole thing to stop functioning. They know that there's a core, it's roughly like human-sized, and they know that destroying it will kill the Gorgon. So you, as a pilot, have been trained to do this. Your whole training is essentially open up a path to the core and then attack the core. That's the doctrine for fighting a Gorgon.
Yeah. Then in that case, yeah, I think that I'm gonna do an all-out assault. I think as soon as Artemis approaches, it knows that the other two are behind it, ready to cover it, and it just whips out the hammer, and, I think some vents open up on it and vent some energy as it starts to glow, and Artemis is just gonna take it and take a big swing into the whatever it can identify as the center of the Gorgon.
Go ahead and roll.
I do not have any heat.
You don't?
And that is a 6.
They can definitely defend themselves, but you can pick one from each list anyways.
Okay.
You've got to pit an asset against theirs. So you've got to pick an asset that you want to, stake to this.
This is the champion's hammer, I think.
Excellent. And you get to pick one from each list anyways. So you can pick the from the 8 to 10 and the 11 plus, but they can definitely defend themselves. So.
I would like to unmark. I think I would like to unmark I'll unmark the malfunctioning identity.
Awesome. All right, and from the 11 plus.
And from the 11 plus list, the combat stims fuck with my head and my handler makes a play.
All right. So the champion's hammer, you go to attack this thing, and I think as you're going to land a blow, it very quickly shifts out of the way, and the tendrils sort of wrap around and reform, and they grab onto the hammer, and they pull it out of your hands, and it gets tossed along the hill and lands hard in it. I think getting it out of the hill is going to take some doing, and you're not going to be able to use it anytime soon. So that asset is now damaged. As this is happening, you feel the whatever was being released to help combat the Gorgon's mental effects is starting to mess with you. It's hard to focus, and as you're losing focus, you see that this writhing mass shifts and it starts to move up the hill. This is the Gorgon making a play to escape. Either Cass or Eurydice, if you don't make a play, it is going to relocate.
I'm going to, first I'm going to calm over to Artemis. You okay?
I'll be fine. Keep it from getting away.
I got this. And she's going to, she's going to all-out assault it in return.
Okay. Are you going to spend any heat?
I only got one, but yes, I will spend it.
Okay, yeah.
Got an 8, so +1, that's a 9.
Okay, hell yeah. All right, so you get to pick from, so you're going to pick an asset to pit against it?
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to pit my Leviathan rapier.
Okay, and then you get to...
Which I'm imagining as just a big fuck-off sword that can shoot a beam.
Okay, and then you get to pick one from the list. I think you should pick one from the list. Do you have the list in front of you?
I'm going to expose a weakness and open up the core.
Excellent. I'm going to say that they cannot defend themselves from this. So you take this rapier, and what are you doing to attack it? You're just going to try to skewer it?
Yeah.
Okay, you pull out this. I think it's it looks like a rapier, but in reality it's more of to anyone else it would be this giant, almost a lance. It's got this long reinforced blade, and you take this and you skewer several of these tendrils. You puncture them, and they open up and they spew out this. You can't smell it from where you are, but you think it would be this foul-smelling, dark purple fluid that just spills everywhere all over. And as you're doing this, you catch a glimpse of some small glint in the middle of these tendrils, this deep green that fades into a red, that fades into a purple. It almost looks like a stone. but it's hard to focus on it. And you know from your experience that that's the core of this thing. It's now exposed. So as you're doing this, you skewer these tentacles. You see the core, but then from underneath you can feel something reaching up towards you to grab you. So I think if you can't, it is trying to attack your frame. I think it's reaching up along. You can feel these things snaking up along your frame, and it's hooking itself onto the side of your frame to where your rapid reentry hardware is, and kind of wrapping around it and starting to pull. If you don't make a play to get out of this situation, it's gonna rip this thing clean off of you.
Can I roll to keep my head?
Absolutely. What are you trying to survive?
I am trying to get out of its grip.
Excellent. Also, I'm gonna let you mark the dangerous tag.
Okay.
Or I'm gonna mark the dangerous identity and take 2 heat for it.
All right. Well, then I will spend this heat.
So you're rolling +2.
It's a good thing I did, because that changed that 6 to an 8.
All right. Choose 2 that you are and 1 that you definitely aren't.
I want to say I'm tough enough. I'm vicious enough. I'm not in control of myself.
As you're doing this, you manage to rip away from this thing. You pull back and you snag these tendrils, and you can see them ripping away, and more of this fluid just coming out, and pieces of the aircraft that this creature had been using to kind of protect itself is actually going to start to come away and fall down to the ground. I think that as this is happening, you can feel something inside of you. You get a strange feeling in the back of your head that doesn't feel familiar. It's not like the feeling of the drugs rushing through your system or the Gorgon's mental invasion. It's something else, something that feels almost physical. And I'm gonna void your last gen.
Okay.
It's now a void corrupted asset.
What does this mean for me right now?
Right now, it doesn't mean anything for you. It only means something if all of your girl assets are voided, or if, you don't do anything about it when you come out of the combat.
But what does this feel like?
Almost feels like the way it felt to talk to your frame, but that felt almost pleasant. This feels like somebody is taking their fingers and sticking them inside of your link and prodding around inside of your neck. You don't know how that's possible. I think you reach up and nothing is happening physically, but it feels like somebody is putting their fingers inside of you. And I think the feeling goes away after a minute. As you rip these tentacles away, the feeling subsides, but there's still this lingering tingling on the side of your neck. The Gorgon has stopped trying to get away. It's sitting there flailing, trying desperately to protect its core again. I think that if Cass wants to try to make a play, it's got the opportunity now.
With my little tiny railgun? You know what? Yeah, I will go there with my little tiny railgun and go for the core. I see Eurydice in trouble.
You gotta pick an asset for what you're using for your decisive strike, and I think in this case, it's probably going to be flavored as you're using this in order to get yourself in the position to use your weapons to hit the core.
Okay, in this case, to get myself into position, in this case, I'm gonna do adaptive camouflage. I think the whole time we've been up there, Cass has made their frame pretty much look invisible, but in reality, they've just been almost mirror. Like, they're just like they're just reflecting the sky and surroundings around them, becoming pretty much invisible. And Cass uses this to put itself into position. And with a roll,
for go for the core, you're going to roll minus the target's undamaged assets, and you can spend heat as you will. Oh, you don't have any. Okay. So this target now has 2 undamaged assets, so you're rolling -2.
I rolled an 8.
Cass, you rolled an 8 -2, so that's a 6.
Yes.
As a base roll.
Okay, I think Cass is being slower at it than it should be, right?
I think the reason that this isn't working is that, in order to get the core, this is something that the Gorgon is going to instinctively protect. And this thing is very agile and moving around a lot, and it's trying to get itself back into a position where it can protect its core. So I think Cass is being too cautious and too hesitant to really get into position.
Hey, get the fucking core! What the fuck are you doing? Why are we keeping you around? What was even the point of resurrecting you? I don't want to watch something wear my friend's face all day. If you can't even do your fucking job, get that fucking core!
Are you invoking the marking of a tag here?
Yes, I am going to invoke marking broken.
Okay, you have a personal bond with Cass, so that means you can either choose to adjust the roll by +2 or -2.
Yeah, let's adjust this by +2.
Okay, that is now an 8. You strike them with a decisive blow, piercing their core. As you hear this, Cass, what are you gonna do as you hear this happening? You're hearing Eurydice's words in your ear.
For Cass, seeing Eurydice attack the Gorgon and the Gorgon attack her back, there's a similar experience to the last time you guys were on a mission, where Cass's mind, her thoughts seem not to be her own, and it's like there's something generating thoughts in her, and it's telling her, kill the Gorgon. But there's something about seeing Eurydice in the battle that her body and her mind don't interact. Her body's remembering something her mind can't. And it's hesitant and it's slow and it wants to flinch away, it wants to almost run. And it's taking Cass too long mentally to get her body to do what she wants it to do. And then Eurydice says those words, and it's like something snaps, and suddenly everything's coordinating correctly, and she surges forward, railgun extended, and once she's close up to it, she opens fire on the core.
You open fire, and the round from your gun just snaps right through this thing's core like it wasn't even there. And there's a slight moment of hesitation where you're not sure if it worked or not. Just this moment of tense silence. And then there's this explosion, this viscous fluid that just comes streaming out of the core and the tendrils that all rupture all at once. And where are the three of you? Because you're right there, Cass. Eurydice, I'm assuming you're still there. Artemis, where are you located?
I think as all of this had been happening, Artemis had been trying to move over, get into position. I don't think Artemis had been getting up on it, seeing that the other two were getting close enough to keep it in range.
Right.
Artemis was trying to set up for like a shot with the bow, since the hammer is out. So I think Artemis is perched up on like a cliff.
Okay, so the two of you, Cass and Eurydice, you're just covered in this fluid. It washes over your frame, and for a second you can't see anything except for this liquid, and then it starts to drip off of the two of you. And as your vision clears, and Artemis, you've seen this whole thing happening, there's just, the hillside is just covered in this dark purple liquid that's oozing everywhere. And as this thing dies, all of a sudden, all of your sensors snap back to life. You can see the satellite imagery, and you can hear the voice of Major Attali on the radio.
Pilots, report in. Pilots, report in.
This is Eurydice. Copy. It's down.
I'm sorry. Repeat that?
The Gorgon is down.
Good job. Pilots, head to the rendezvous point for retrieval.
Yes, sir.
Copy.
And the radio goes silent. The three of you're being directed to a nearby rendezvous point, and I think at this time, you're not going to be picked up by the aircraft that usually transports you. Actually, they're going to come and they're going to like check what's happening to the three of you in the field. So you're all directed to stop, and there's some temporary equipment that's set up, and you have to wait a little while. The reentry system was damaged on Eurydice's frame, and it has to be sort of jury-rigged to get it working again. I'm going to undamage that asset. So once it's repaired, the three of you you're all directed to come down, and you can see that Major Attali is standing there looking at the three of you, and she looks not angry, which from what you've seen of her, that's pretty good. Pilots, intelligence has confirmed that the Gorgon is completely destroyed. It's a mess, but cleaning up messes is what we're good at. She's looking at the three of you as if she's waiting for you to respond.
We do our best, sir.
She looks at you, Artemis, and squints at you. Pilot Braddock, tell me something. Why did our crews have to airlift the champion's hammer out of the side of a mountain today?
The Gorgon was very fast, sir.
Well, you'll find that they tend to be. This isn't like training in the simulator.
Of course not, sir. I was not under that impression.
She looks at the three of you and she nods. And then she looks at you, Cass, closely. You surprised me today. Maybe there's some glimmer left of what you used to be.
I think I really want to roll bad at being a person.
If you feel like this is rising to the level of having to interact with someone in a significant way, please feel free to make the play.
Oh no, I shouldn't have. I rolled a 4.
You may pick 2 of the list or abandon the conversation immediately. Those are your options.
Yeah, no. Cass looks like it's going to say something, then looks away and shuts its mouth.
The Major nods at you, and you can see a little bit of, I don't know if pride is the right word, but I think it might be the closest that you're going to get to describing the look on her face. And I'm going to give you the compliant tag.
Okay.
She then turns and looks at you, Eurydice, and you've known her for a little bit. You know what she looks like when she's pissed off, and right now she's not. And she nods at you. You did a good job. You supported your cadre. And then she turns to you, Artemis, and she glares a little bit. You do better next time. And I think at this, she turns and she walks off to leave the three of you to finish cleaning everything up and getting ready to return to base. And I'm gonna adjust your statuses now. I think at this point, Cass, you're now the ace. Eurydice, you're a wing, and Artemis, because someone's gotta be it, you're now the dog.
This is bonkers. This is crazy. This is insane. This is the weirdest possible way for this to have gone.
So the major walks away, and the three of you are left to finish all of the post-mission, getting your frames settled and back in base, and everything is, this time, relatively successful. A lot of people died, but that wasn't really your fault this time. And I think we close on a scene of the three of you waiting for the transport aircraft. The sun is very low in the horizon now, and you can see the silhouette of the mountain in the distance from where you are. And the three of you are just standing there with your frames. And I think our final shot of the episode is the three of you in the light of the setting sun, looking exhausted from this mission. And slowly, as the sound of the transport aircraft grows louder, we fade to black.
Thank you for listening to Zero Angels. In this episode, Artemis was played by Cass was played by Chrissy Sylvia. Eurydice was played by Anna Marcus. Colonel Voss and Major Attali were played by Jonaya Riley. The music for this episode was composed by Anna Marcus. This episode was edited by Jonaya Riley and produced by Bad Rep Productions. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/badrep and join our online community at discord.badrep.productions. Zero Angels is part of the Bard Rock Network. You can check out the rest of their shows at bardrockcafe.com.
The camera slowly fades in, and we see Colonel Voss standing in front of a massive set of blast doors. These are the kind of doors that are used to shut a bomb shelter or a military bunker. They're worn looking, and as she stands there, the doors slowly begin to open. The camera lingers as they open, and then finally we see it just darkness beyond. The handler steps forward and onto an inclined elevator. She slowly begins to descend into the darkness, and the camera pulls back, and we see, marked on the side of the wall, two things written down. The first one on the top is a symbol that Eurydice would probably recognize, a triangle in red, and next to it is written, "Caution, void hazard." And underneath, in stenciled letters, slightly faded, are the letters GD 2229-117. And the camera cuts to black.
Huge thanks to our patrons, KK, Foxgirl Games, Saturn Nieves, Veer, Melanie Archer, Marty Balmer, Paul Kinter, Carl Rigney, Scarlett, Kai McKenna, Preston Isom, Patrick McCullough, Anarchy Barbie, Chip Highbeams, Cassie the Star Bitch, and Sophie. And of course, thanks to everyone for listening.